Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel and I'm here with the new Gina K Designs Christmas in July kit. Let's start off by taking a look at the kit. This is the Sparkle Gel in Starlight. This is the little free gift that you get along with everything else that comes in the kit, and this is a blast to use. It's such a great way to add sparkle and shine without having to add loose glitter. So I am in love with that sparkle gel. Next up, we have the stamp set Let Your Light Shine. This is a 6x8 stamp set with Christmas lights and sparkles and some really beautiful sentiments. There's also a stencil that you can use to color in the lights if you'd prefer to do that rather than stamp them. There also is a die set to cut out the string of lights as well as the sentiments and the little sparkles that come in the stamp set as well. So it is a great set where you can color in with stencil or stamp and then die cut. Next up, we have the Oh Christmas Tree stamps and dies. This is a layering stamp set that you can layer up different aspects of these modern looking trees. And there are sentiments that you can also die cut out. And we have the layered Mistletoe, which is a layering stencil set, as well as a die that will cut it out. Now, that's the kit, but you can grab the POLY-GLAZE that will match some of the elements of the dies that match the stamps. So if you don't want to stamp, you can foil and die cut. There's Let Your Light Shine and Oh Christmas Tree, and the layered mistletoe. So you can stencil this POLY-GLAZE sheet with different colors and then foil it as well. I like to foil first usually. This is the Fuse foiling system from Gina K Designs. It is a great way to use toner foils and either POLY-GLAZE or toner sheets. This is a carrier sheet. It's what you insert everything into so it doesn't get all jammed up inside your system. I like to go with level 3 usually. This is the POLY-GLAZE has the toner foil on it and the color side up. And then you place it inside that carrier sheet that has a fold, and on the folded edge, you're going to insert it into the Fuse machine. Really easy, quick way to foil. And the POLY-GLAZE sheets are some of my personal favorites because I feel like they take the foil really, really well. I never have an issue with them. So I did decide to foil some sentiments from Let Your Light Shine, as well as some sparkles and a couple of the snowflakes and trees from Oh Christmas Tree and a couple of sentiments there as well. And again, I have the dies inside the card kit to cut all of these out. So foiling and die cutting, it just makes it a breeze to be able to add shine to your cards. If you do all your foiling up front and then die cut everything out, then you just have a load of elements to work with and be able to create a whole bunch of different holiday and Christmas cards in a snap. So for this first card, I decided to foil and die cut a couple of trees from the Oh Christmas Tree POLY-GLAZE sheets, but I also want to use the stamps. I like to combine all these elements together. So I will ink up a few of the stamps and then layer them up as well. So I have a couple of different colors of ink here, and I'll stamp each of them and then add the second layer on. If I don't have another color that goes up as far as the darkness of the color, then I'll just stamp the original color again, maybe 2 times to get it to really look a little bit different. As for the very last element, it's just some little dots and sparkles. I did use some white pigment ink, not to make it really, really stand out, but I just think it's a nice subtle touch. And then I'll use the dies to cut these inked and stamped trees out. So I've cut down a piece of white cardstock to 4x5 1/4 and layered it on top of some sea glass cardstock from Gina K Designs. And then I'll use some foam squares to pop up my line of trees. So I'll go, each tree will either be stamped or foiled, and we won't have any foiling next to each other or stamping next to each other. So I really like the look of these trees. They're just very, like I said, modern and just very pretty. And you don't need a whole lot on this card because that foiling and this stamping really creates lots of interest on its own. But I did die cut a couple of the little snowflakes to act as embellishments, and the Oh Christmas Tree sentiment, which I did foil. I loved making this card. I love these trees, and I'll be using them again and again. For the next card, let's use the Let Your Light Shine stencil over the foiled POLY-GLAZE sheet. So I did foil it first, and then I'll take the stencil and lay it right on top of the Christmas lights. And I'll use a couple of colors of Gina K Designs inks. I have a couple of cubes in green and red, and I'll just place some green on the ends of the string of lights and then some red in the center. I did wipe off the excess green ink here. It helps get the rest of that ink onto the little areas of the stencil and also avoid mixing and matching it with the red ink, which will definitely turn it brown. So I didn't want to do that. I wanted red and green. So then I'll just peel off that stencil and look at how cute those lights are. I love them. But the best part is that you can cut them out. So you can pop them up if you want to. I also love cutting out sentiments for this very reason. I like to add dimension behind my sentiments. And so I love how Gina K always includes as many dies as she can in her sets so that a lot of the sentiments, or all of the sentiments sometimes, have matching dies so that you can cut them out and then pop them up. I did use the stamp set from Let Your Light Shine, and I stamped and heat embossed a couple of those sparkles. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, if I was going to use it as background, but I ended up just cutting a few out to accent the rest of my card. So I've cut down some cardstock so that I have a double mat here, red and green. Then I'll pop up the Merry and Bright, which is foiled. And then I decided to lay the holiday lights flat. So I did use liquid adhesive behind them and place them down. You can see how they trail underneath the sentiment. I love the way that that looks. And then popping up some of those little sparkles that I created with the gold heat embossing. This card is so clean and simple. I really love putting it together like that, and I love the outcome. For this card, I wanted to use that layered mistletoe. Again, I foiled it first using the POLY-GLAZE sheets. Those are outside of the kit. And then I grabbed the kit for the layering stencils. So the stencils are pretty simple to layer and line up. There are the mistletoe leaves, and then kind of a shadow or darker part of those mistletoe leaves. Then there's berries and a bow. So it doesn't take 1,000 inks to color this in. You really only need a couple here. What I decided to do was use some pinks and a light green for a slightly different color combination. Since the last card I did was traditional colors, I thought I would go for something a little bit different here just for another look. I'll hold those dies in place with some Spellbinder's Best Ever craft tape and then run it through my die cut machine. Now I did put the last stencil back on here because this is the accents on the berries and on the bow. And I thought this was the perfect place to add some of that twilight sparkle and shine. So even just a tiny bit, and you just add a hint of glitter and a little bit of sparkle. I absolutely love this stuff. I'm glad it comes with a little interior plastic cap because I think that's going to keep it fresh longer. So once again, I love matting my cardstocks, especially with really pretty colorful cardstocks like Gina K has. And then I'll pop up the layered mistletoe on top, just using some small foam squares behind it, and then a small foam strip behind Happy Holidays. I didn't want to add anything else because I wanted those pretty little glittered berries and bow to steal the show here, but I love this alternative color combination. Now, Gina K's Christmas in July card kits are always very popular, so if you want to snag one, go down to the YouTube description box under the video. I will have links to everything in here that I used today, and I want to thank you so much for stopping by. Have a wonderful day.